Welcome to another FPL video. We are talking about the best free hit team for Game Week 12, and this will also help those of you that aren't playing the free hit but want to know which transfers to make, especially after the suspension of James Maddison, who picked up his 5th yellow card of the season with a late dive in literally the last minute of the game, and he got his 5th yellow card and he's now suspended for Game Week 12. So who are the best replacements for him? And if you're on the free hit, he was going to feature in this team, who do you replace him with as well? This is all going to be covered in this video, and I'm also going to talk about some different picks looking across the rest of the games and showing you how it all looks like in FPL.team. If you enjoy this video, then be sure to drop it a like, and let's get this to over 300 likes overall. And we're also very close to 16,000 subscribers, so let's keep on pushing, and thank you very much for all your support. And without further ado, let's get straight into this video. Just as a quick disclaimer, all the points on the left-hand side are from Game Week 10. I haven't updated any of it from what's happened in Game Week 11 so far, so just bear that in mind and don't worry about that too much. It'll all be covered in the team selection video. But I would go for Nick Pope at home to Everton. I think he has the high ceiling, despite not getting any saves or bonus points at the time of this recording in the last few games, of course. Let's see how he does against Man United. And Ward actually has kept a clean sheet in his last 2 home games for Leicester, and it's yet another home game to Leeds in Game Week 12, so you could even start him. But I think the big alternative and the standout would be Robert Sanchez at home to Nottingham Forest. But I would favour Newcastle slightly more, and it's mainly due to Nick Pope's save and bonus points potential, which I still think is significantly better than Robert Sanchez in the long term. Let me know if you disagree and if you would go for Robert Sanchez. I think it's really close between the two, but I would favour Nick Pope in Game Week 12. With the best defender in the game, Cancelo, blanking in Game Week 12. One of the other best options on paper, Reece James being injured potentially for a long time. Trippier is the only standout and the must-have, so to speak, in Game Week 12 at home to Everton. And you can double up with Nick Pope and Trippier, and that's what I'm looking to do in Game Week 12. And even if I was playing the free hit, I would do the same thing. The big kind of name and premium choice is Robertson, and he hasn't really shown it so far this season. I would expect him to get some minutes against Man City, maybe even start the game, and I think he'll be ready just in time for that clash against West Ham, which isn't easy, but I still think Robertson has that ceiling. We just haven't seen it enough this season, only once against Bournemouth. And then I've gone for Anderson, who just picked up a 5-pointer. He got a yellow card, but still got the clean sheet against Leicester. And at home to Wolves, who struggle to score goals, I think that could be a decent chance of a clean sheet. But I think one of the best options on paper is Lewis Dunk or any Brighton defender, which includes Veltman, who also got booked in Game Week 11, and also Webster, who is actually arguably the better pick compared to Dunk this season. He's got better underlying numbers, and he also is better for baseline bonus, especially since De Zerbi has come in. But of course, it's a really small sample size, and historically I think Dunk is the better choice. But of course, if you disagree, then be sure to let me know down in the comments. I don't think there's any wrong or right answer. I think they're all quite a similar level, and to be honest, none of them have attacking returns so far this season, with the exception of Veltman there. And you've also got Estupinian. Mitoma's got a bit of an injury doubt at the moment, so Estupinian could start yet again, but I still think he could come off quite early on, and that's what typically happens for Brighton. So I would rather go for one of Dunk, Webster or Veltman, and I would lean more towards Dunk or Webster out of the free. And then I've gone for Totti as the 3.9 million defender of choice. And to be fair, with the budget that we have and the lack of premium options, you could just go for Kilman, someone a bit more nailed on, and he can also sit on your bench. But I think Totti's really good. He's budget friendly, and most of you will be able to afford him, and he can sit on your bench. And to be fair, I wouldn't be that surprised if Wolves keep a clean sheet away to Crystal Palace. There are 2 midfielders that I definitely go for on the free hit in Game Week 12, and that's Salah and Trossard. The rest is up for debate, especially after Maddison got suspended, and his replacement here is Heung-min Son. And I have also done Rodrigo, downgraded to Bailey in order to fund that move. But you could also consider Raheem Sterling, who is more affordable. He's away to Brentford, and you could argue the fixture's obviously much better on paper, and you could see him getting more goals and assists potentially. But I would go for Son, who I trust more than Raheem Sterling, and let's see how Son does this week against Everton. And if he's in form, shows that Champions League form in the Premier League, just like with Salah, then we can start to enjoy his points really and have more confidence, go for him in Game Week 12, and I think he could do a good job even against Man United. And as for Salah, he scored the hat-trick against Rangers in the Champions League in just 6 minutes, which is an all-time record. But how will he do against City? If he puts in a good performance, I would be very encouraged on the free hit to go with him and also captain him at home to West Ham, which is not going to be an easy game, by the way, but I would still favour Liverpool, who haven't lost a game at the time it's recording at home in the Premier League with Virgil van Dijk starting. Let's see if that continues after the City game. and Andres Pereira would sit on the bench alongside Bailey, but the one you really want to have, the one that offers exceptional value, is Leandro Trossard, and I think he's a significantly better option in Game Week 12 compared to Zaha, who has been struggling recently, and Crystal Palace haven't been free-flowing, so to speak. And to be fair, neither have Brighton. They've had so much possession in the last 2 games against Brentford and Spurs, but they never look like scoring. But I think Trossard has a good chance of some returns, just like he did against Liverpool. Maybe not a hat-trick, but I could see him getting 1 or 2 goal contributions, and he's a great choice, and I'm looking to get him in for my own team. I'll talk about that in the team selection video. So this is a good midfield, obviously not the best on paper. You don't have the Arsenal and City players to choose from as well, and they have some of the best midfielders to offer, but it's still pretty good with all things considered, and you would go for 3 midfielders in this week's free hit. Mitrovic is still flagged, as you can see here, but he is starting in Game Week 11, and let's see how he recovers in time for Game Week 12. But at home to Villa, I think that's a good fixture. Mitrovic is one of the best options at his price and below, and I would go for 3 forwards here. With Roberto Firmino, who is the best Liverpool asset right now, he would also be in this free hit, and it's really rare for me to recommend Firmino, but he's been so good, it's hard to ignore him, and we have to change our perceptions surrounding him. I don't think he's an FPL troll at the moment, and he is actually a much better option, in my opinion, than Jota, Salah, Nunez, and anyone else you can name from Liverpool right now. Obviously, things can change, but I think Firmino will continue to do a good job, and Liverpool have some great fixtures from Game Week 12 up to 16, so he's not just a good pick for Game Week 12, but also beyond that. And then we've gone for Harry Kane, who is away to United, and some of you might favour United more so in that game, and United obviously did the double over Spurs last season, so I could understand if you're a bit reluctant to go for Son and Harry Kane, but they're 2 of the best premiums that are on offer in Game Week 12, and Salah being the other one, but he hasn't been as good as Harry Kane in my opinion. I would definitely go for Kane. Son is probably the one that's more debatable, and with no Haaland, you've obviously got Kane, you've got Aubameyang, you've got Ronaldo as the kind of premium forwards, but honestly, Kane is the only reliable one from the ones I just mentioned there, in my opinion. But if you really wanted some Chelsea cover, which this team lacks, you could go for someone like Cucurella or Chilwell at the back, depending on who you think is going to start. Also Koulibaly, who's one of the more nailed-on options. Raheem Sterling in the midfield. Mason Mount as well isn't a bad choice. And also Aubameyang up front. So those options I would definitely consider, but they don't quite make the cut, to be honest. And the one that's most likely to actually enter this team would be Sterling in for Heung-min Son. Let me know your thoughts and if you disagree or not. And I'm now going to show you how it all looks like in FPL.team, who would start, who the captains would be, and also how the bench would be ordered. I would start Nick Pope in goal, but I wouldn't actually mind starting Ward potentially at home to Leeds, but I have to say I still prefer the Newcastle shot stopper. Lewis Dunk, Robertson, Anderson and Trippier would complete the back line, with Salah as the captain, Heung-min Son and Trossard forming the midfield, and up front we have Mitrovic alongside Harry Kane and Roberto Firmino. And on the bench, I've gone for Ward, of course, then Andres Pereira first sub, but you could actually feasibly go for Bailey instead in that role, and also Totti would be last there on the bench. Let me know what you think of this team selection, and I have gone for Salah captain. I think he has the best chance of getting a double-digit return of all of these players I've mentioned, but you could also consider, apart from Harry Kane, a cheeky captaincy pun on either Trossard or Roberto Firmino. And of course, you can't discount Son, but I would actually heavily consider Trossard or Firmino as the captain here in Game Week 12. I don't think I'd go for any defender, not even Trippier, despite his incredible form. So really, in terms of the captaincy pool, it's between those 3 midfielders and 2 of those forwards. But I'll have to say, it would mainly be one of those Liverpool attackers or Harry Kane. And I have to say, Trossard could actually be my own captain because I don't have the likes of Salah or Harry Kane in my own team selection. I'll talk about that in the team selection video as well. And if you enjoyed this video or found it useful, then be sure to smash the like button and subscribe for new. Let's get this video to over 300 likes, and let's also push on towards 16,000 subscribers. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, and you can also become a patron or a channel member. The links are in the description below. We keep on growing that as well. So thank you very much. And you can also join the Discord server and the FPL League. All of that is in the description below. And as always, I wish you the very best of luck for Game Week 12 and the rest of the season. And I'll see you next time.